Hello and welcome. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Ken Cruz, coming to you from Fort Washington, Maryland. Tonight we have reports from several of our correspondents from North America. EJ Gonzalez in Alexandria, Virginia.
Virginia Governor Ralph Northam launches a new relief program for Virginians experiencing difficulties in rent and mortgage payments.
Aaron Abed in Gaithersburg, Maryland.
Maryland government to adjust education funding in the state budget.
Melissa Potas in Orlando, Florida. Melissa?
Florida prepares for 4th of July, return of Major League Sports.
Mila Cimbula in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania Department of Health launches COVID-19 early warning dashboard.
Abigail Dimlau in Rochester, New York.
New York assists to assist states with high infection rates.
Don Omar Cuevas in Little Rock reports about how Arkansas's reopening is stimulating the economy and increasing employment, and about Confederate statues sparking debate. Julianne Cimbula in Lancaster, California.
Los Angeles beaches are closed and all firework displays are banned for the 4th of July holiday weekend.
And Love Esteban Sanchez takes us to a blood drive in Bakersfield, California. Plus, we'll talk about things we can donate this summer. But first, an overview of how the world looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 5 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday, June 30th, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 10,300,000. This includes more than 2,600,000 in the U.S. Sadly, this virus has claimed more than 508,000 lives worldwide. This number includes more than 127,000 deaths in the U.S. Our coverage begins now. Virginia launches a new rent and mortgage relief program. EJ Gonzalez in Alexandria reports.
Thanks, Ken. Governor Ralph Northam highlighted at a press conference that evictions and housing stability are crises that Virginians are facing, even more now due to the pandemic. Northam also mentioned that compared to other states in the country, a number of localities in Virginia have some of the nation's highest eviction rates. With many experiencing so much uncertainty during these times, the governor wants to ensure that having a safe and stable place to live is something Virginians do not have to worry about. However, the pandemic has shown that some families are just one financial challenge away from an eviction. Because Governor Northam considers this problem a priority, he proudly highlighted that Virginia has become a national leader in launching projects addressing homelessness and investing in affordable housing. During the early stages of the pandemic, Governor Northam worked closely with the Supreme Court to suspend eviction cases through June 28th. However, with that deadline recently passing, the governor feared and expected that thousands of Virginians would then have to face the threat of an eviction, which he does not deem acceptable. In order to avoid these cases, the governor has reached out to Chief Circuit Court judges to extend the moratorium in their localities until July 20th. In addition to this, the governor launched a new program called Virginia Rent and Mortgage Relief Program, or RMRP. This program will provide $50 million to be funded by the Coronavirus Aid Relief and Economic Security, or CARES Act. The RMRP will target households facing eviction or foreclosure due to COVID-19 with temporary assistance in rent or mortgage payments. The governor said that the state will prioritize households without federal or state protections and those currently facing court proceedings. The Department of Housing and Community Development, or DHCD, will manage the $50 million project through various partners, which will receive upfront funds that will distribute on behalf of eligible households. Individuals and families receiving funding will also be connected to housing counseling and will receive other technical assistance. Those who have been laid off from their job, having difficulty finding employment because of the pandemic, or experience a reduction in work hours may be eligible for this program. For applications and a full list of requirements for eligibility, Virginians can visit dhcd.virginia.gov. In Alexandria, Virginia, EJ Gonzalez, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Ken.
So, EJ, how much of a relief are these housing projects for Virginia communities?
Well, it's so clear that the pandemic has brought economic suffering, right, which easily can lead to the threat of evictions or foreclosures of homes. Since one of the easiest ways to stop the spread of the virus is to stay home, then having shelter would be very important. Well, I commend the projects launched by the Virginia government and would implore other states and cities to do the same.
So you're about, on a side note, about 30 minutes away from the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Usually, this time of the year, it's going to be extremely packed July 4th weekend.
Right.
I mean, there's going to be a lot of restrictions this time around. What do you and your family have planned, knowing that it's a pandemic version of July 4th?
Right. For me and my family, I don't think much is changing. This 4th of July, other than staying at home, I'm not sure if others are really planning to still go out and celebrate, which I'm sure they are, but hopefully they do so in the proximity of their own homes and with maybe just a few relatives over so that they can still celebrate and maybe video conference some of their other relatives who are a little bit further away.
So maybe hot dogs in a microwave? Just kidding.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Or some burgers.
Appreciate the report. Thank you, EJ.
Thanks, Ken.
Maryland government to adjust education funding and state budget. Aaron Aben in Bakersfield has the story.
Thank you, Ken. As state governments across the United States continue to work towards controlling the spread of COVID-19, they also attempt to mitigate the damage done to individual finances, businesses, and education systems. Yesterday, there were a number of announcements made by Governor Larry Hogan concerning his administration's plans for tackling the issue of fund allocation. As predicted by the Maryland Board of Revenue, there will be up to a $1.1 billion shortfall for the state's budget by next year. The CARES Act, signed in late March by the President, was intended to address the economic impact of COVID-19 on the country. Among the provisions of the act was the guarantee of at least $1.25 billion in federal assistance to each state, with exact amounts being dependent on each state's population. Yesterday, Governor Hogan announced the allocation of an additional $210 million towards assisting students most impacted by the COVID-19 control measures. This additional funding will be further split into 3 different categories: remote learning enhancements, targeted tutoring initiatives, and rural broadband internet. Remote learning enhancements primarily entail the maintenance and replacement of school devices, such as laptops or tablets. Any of these devices that are at least 4 years old are to be replaced, and more staff will be dedicated towards distributing and maintaining these devices. Next are targeted tutoring initiatives, which are intended to mitigate learning loss caused by time away from live teaching and direct instruction. Students with below grade level math or reading scores are the primary targets of these intensive tutoring programs. And finally, the Governor's Office of Rural Broadband is planning to construct a wireless education network for areas in Western, Eastern, and Southern Maryland that lack access to broadband service. Governor Hogan touts the additional funding as evidence of Maryland's focus on education, stating that, and I quote, "Education has been and will continue to be this administration's highest priority." However, accompanying this announcement yesterday was also the announcement of Governor Hogan's proposal to cut $672 million from the state's budget as soon as possible. These cuts are designed to reduce the deficit caused by COVID-19 revenue losses, and they include more than $100 million dedicated towards education. Among the parties with vested interest in these budget changes is the Maryland Association of Boards of Education, which has made a public statement expressing its staunch opposition to the education cuts. The proposed budget cuts are slated for tomorrow, July 1st. In Gaithersburg, Maryland, Aaron Aubin, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Ken.
Thanks, Aaron. So you mentioned that these cuts include more than $100 million dedicated towards education. What was mentioned in the public statement of the Maryland Association of Board of Government, of Board of Education regarding this?
So the association is supposed to be representative of the 24 or so boards of education in Maryland. And in their statement, it was relatively concise. And they made it clear that they strongly oppose the proposed budget cuts to school systems. And besides that, the association also provided emails and contact information for the Board of Public Works. The Board of Public Works is the board responsible for publishing these budget cuts. And they encouraged Maryland residents to express opposition by emailing the members of the board.
So specifically in your case, you're going to be a freshman in the University of Maryland this coming fall. Are there any effects to your education coming up?
So, of course, since University of Maryland is a public institution, some of its funding is from the state. However, these past few years, there have been a lot of complaints that the university hasn't been receiving a lot of funding in the first place. So there will be a significant impact, of course, but I don't think that it's enough to drastically change the quality of education.
Oh, well, that's good news. I mean, University of Maryland has good education. So good luck to you, Aaron. I'll be in touch. Florida prepares for the 4th of July and the return of Major League Sports in Orlando. Melissa Cortez has the story.
Since the start of Florida State on June 5th, the number of COVID-19 cases have more than doubled. Last week alone, there was a record number of cases reported with a surge of almost 43,000 people testing positive from June 24th through June 29th. Last Saturday posted a single-day high of more than 9,500 cases. As of Tuesday, there were more than 6,000 new cases with 152,434 total number of cases to date. And as Americans prepare to celebrate Independence Day this Saturday, July 4th, many of the beaches in South Florida who remained in phase 1 of reopening will be closed due to concerns with COVID-19. Popular beach destinations in Miami, Palm Beach, Fort Lauderdale, and Key West will close beginning July 3rd and reopen the following Monday or Tuesday. While the numbers continue to rise throughout the state, Central Florida has launched a regional campaign, Safer, Stronger Together, #DoYourPartORL, to encourage businesses and citizens to do their part to, quote, adhere to safe practices to show care and respect for others in our community, end quote. The campaign was developed by Visit Orlando and the Orlando Economic Partners as part of the work of the Orange County Economic Recovery Task Force. Businesses and citizens are encouraged to follow CDC guidelines for cleaning and disinfecting, practicing good hygiene, wearing face coverings, and following social distancing. And despite the rising numbers of COVID-19 cases in Florida, for now, sports are making a comeback. With 54 matches, 26 teams, 6 groups, and 1 champion, Major League Soccer will take over the ESPN Wide World of Sport complex starting June 8th until August 11th with its MLS is Back tournament. And in exactly 1 month, the NBA will make its return as the 8 seeding games will begin on July 30th, with the first 2 games to be played between the Jazz and Pelicans, followed by the Clippers and Lakers. Each of the 22 teams will play to determine their spot in the playoffs. And for those of you who prefer to hit the links, the Arnold Palmer Invitational Jr. honoring Jim Bell will return to Orlando from July 27th through the 30th. The tournament to be held at Arnold Palmer Club and Lodge will showcase the best 78 boy and girl golfers in the country. Notable alumni include Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, Stacey Lewis, and Lexi Thompson. So in the next few weeks, sports enthusiasts will definitely have something to look forward to. In Orlando, Florida, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Ken.
Thanks, Melissa. So given the rising number of COVID cases in Florida, how do you and your family plan on celebrating this weekend, the 4th of July?
To be honest, we were not the ones to really go out. Here in Florida, it gets very crowded. There's always a lot of people at the beaches watching fireworks. So we're actually going to do what we always do, is just spend family time together. We're actually going to go to my mom's house and go to the pool and barbecue and just hang out. And if we get back home in time, our neighbors are always having fireworks in the front yard.
Awesome news. Awesome to hear. You reported regarding professional sports. Pretty much like half of the professional sports are going to be there in the coming month. But all of the attention is going to be in Orlando as far as the sporting world. How are the residents in Orlando responding to the upcoming global attention that's going to be coming?
I think here in Orlando, the residents are still just going about as business as usual. We're used to tourists coming into the area, so that's really nothing new. For the Major League Sports players, they're actually going to be in campuses by the Wide World of Sports on Disney property. So for us, we're really not going to have the opportunity to interact with them because right now the Disney parks are still closed here in the area. Resorts are starting to open up slowly.
Yeah, so speaking of Disney World is still slated to open July 11th. Is that correct?
That's correct.
What's the feeling over there as far as, that day is creeping up in less than 2 weeks? I mean, I believe you said you guys had a pass. I mean, is that something that you're looking to utilize right away, wait out a little bit to find out how big the crowds are? What's the situation?
Well, they actually just started testing their online system to make reservations. So I think residents here in Florida are excited to be able to go back to the parks. But a lot of people are still a little bit wary about being with big groups of individuals. The parks like Universal have been opened. We haven't really heard any major issues. There have been some reports of the difficulties with social distancing, going into and out of the parks, especially if the weather gets. Here in Florida, it's around the time where every day around 3, 4 o'clock, you're going to have a thunderstorm. So people trying to find shelter when they're at the parks and you're also trying to social distance is a little bit difficult.
Right.
But everybody else is just really excited to get back to some kind of normalcy.
So then as far as, what I'm curious with, are they, as the parks, both Universal and Disney, I believe you mentioned that there's a reservation system, but how about for, the one dayers or the ones that are coming in from around the world, or I guess, in this case, just around the nation, since we can't really get people from around the world right now, but did they have to reserve? Or, I mean, because I'm sure there's capacity limits, right? At least in the start.
Yeah, they limit the capacity to all of the parks. I want to say, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's 50% capacity at this time. So obviously, the ones with passes, they have the ability to make reservations in advance, and that's going to be the key, is to making your reservations. Parks like SeaWorld and Legoland have that opportunity. Some parks are first reserved. So I believe if you go to Universal and it's at capacity and you're there, you're kind of out of luck and you're going to have to wait.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, I guess that's something to consider if you're a tourist, potentially going to, or even an NBA player potentially going to the park. You have to be able to understand that there's a chance that you might be turned away at the gate, right?
Exactly.
Well, appreciate the news, both good and not so good. Thank you so much, Melissa.
Thank you.
When we come back, more reports from our correspondents across the U.S. Stay with us. This is Eagle News America.
Patindi ng patindi at tuloy-tuloy ang pagpapakita ng galing ng ating mga TNG aspirants.
You're just too good to be true. Up, you came to get it drunk with a dame, I should have drunk you back when I was a child.
Abangan ng kanilang performances sa pinakamalaking talent competition sa buong bansa, Tagisan ng Galing.
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved Nutri-Chunks, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutri-Chunks. Magnolia Chicken Templados. Delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat. Pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda. Kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee. Masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint, Matimco, R Square Variables Incorporated, Compizel Enterprises, Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, San-May Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! San-May Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The successful development of TPLEX, or Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway in 2009, a 4-lane toll road that extends from Tarlac City to Rosario La Union, with an additional approved extension of 56 kilometers all the way to San Juan La Union. This is expected to reduce travel time to Baguio and other provinces in northern Luzon. Realizing the vision of creating a better world for Filipinos fueled the team's focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Ken Cruz in Fort Washington. The Department of Health launches a COVID-19 early warning dashboard in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania. Bureau Chief Mila Sambulan reports.
Thanks, Ken. The Pennsylvania Department of Health launched an online monitoring dashboard that provides information for Pennsylvanians to track changes of COVID-19 infections. The dashboard is updated weekly, and it helps in providing information regarding the severity of COVID-19 here in Pennsylvania. Data points shown in the dashboard include difference in confirmed cases, incidence rate per 100,000 residents, difference in the average daily number of COVID-19 hospitalizations, the difference in the average daily number of COVID-19 patients on ventilators, hospital emergency department percentage visit for COVID-like illness. These are all based on 7 days and previous 7 days. As you can see on the dashboard, counties are showing a alarming increase in new cases. And the Department of Health Secretary Dr. Rachel Levine has a message to Pennsylvanians, especially now that all except one county are on rebase for the third and final phase of the opening. Let's watch it.
We have also learned that this virus is not gone. Across the country, states are seeing significant increases in states like Arizona, Texas, and Florida. And as the governor said, we have started to see a small increase just over the last number of days here in Pennsylvania. But whether our increases are small and the number of people who are tested that are positive remains somewhat stable, we know firsthand how things can change so fast. It has been great to be in the green zone and to be able to resume some of the activities we like to do, or just to be able to more easily go to stores and grocery stores. But we still have to be careful. We have to stay vigilant. We have to stay alert. COVID-19 is still present in our communities. It still represents a danger to our communities and a danger to our health that we cannot take lightly.
When Governor Tom Wolf, Department of Health Secretary June visited UPMC Pinnacle Community Osteopathic Hospital in Harrisburg, the chair of the UPMC Pinnacle Board of Directors, Rob Lidick, mentioned about the issue the healthcare system is experiencing right now regarding patients that have serious healthcare issues, and they are afraid to visit the hospital or doctor's office. Let's watch it.
One of our particular problems as a healthcare system at this point is that we've got quite a number of patients under our care in our footprint that for the last month or two have been afraid to come into the hospital, have been afraid to visit their doctor's office for fear of the virus. Quite a number of those individuals are people who've got serious health issues on their hands, and they've not gone in to see their doctor, not gone into the hospital, not gone into any of our facilities because of fear of catching the virus. One of the things that we have done extremely well is we've made sure that these facilities are all incredibly safe. You're safer in this hospital than sitting at home with especially with a serious health issue on your hands. So one of the things that we wanted to make sure that you were aware of today is that getting in to see your doctor, getting in to see the hospital is really key at this point.
The highlight of the frontline workers of UPMC for their tremendous job on the front line to save lives. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Myla Cibula, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Ken.
Thanks, Myla. So as a resident of Pennsylvania, how do you think the monitoring dashboard will help you and your family?
I think the data on the dashboard. I'm a fan of dashboard. Actually, create dashboards as my profession, and data is really important. And as a resident, this type of dashboard really helps me, especially even when we were still on a complete shutdown. I looked at the new dashboard I showed you is on a county level. And here in our county, we also have a city level dashboard. How many cases are there in the city you are or the city where you're going to. So before I leave the house, I check for the dashboard, especially if I need to go to a place where I have to grocery shopping or get something. I need to check it first so that I know if there is a community spread on that place, on that city. It helps me prepare myself because before I leave, there's a difference on the mask that I use. If I'm just going to go running around the neighborhood, I'm using a mask that's made of cotton, a thin layer of mask.
Sure.
But if I have to go to, let's say, a grocery store that I know there is a spread, there's a high number of infection rate, then I'm going to use a thicker with some filter on the mask. So things like that. For me, there's a difference. Yes, and the dashboard helps me prepare myself whenever I go out there.
Well, that's good. That's good to know. I mean, at the end of the day, data is king, right? And so it's great that your state has and your county has something that's able to provide you information that's essential to your daily living. Thank you so much, Myla. New York will be assisting states with high COVID-19 infection rates. In Rochester, Abigail Lau has the details. Abigail?
Hi. Sorry. Thanks, Kent. Governor Andrew Cuomo announced that New York will offer to assist states with high infection rates as several states begin to see spikes in COVID-19.
We have offered help to any state that is experiencing a spike. We have personnel who know this better than anyone in the United States. We learned it the hard way. We have equipment. We have testing capacity. So any state that needs help, we stand ready. I will never forget how good this country was to New York when we needed help. When I asked for help, we had 30,000 people from across the country, healthcare professionals, who volunteered to come to New York. At our peak, I mean, that was an amazing sign of generosity. So we don't forget as New Yorkers, and we'll be there for other people.
Governor Cuomo has also partnered with New Jersey Governor Murphy and Connecticut Governor Lamont to create a joint travel advisory for individuals traveling from states with significant community spread of COVID-19, requiring a quarantine for 14 days when visiting their states. The following states meet the criteria for required quarantine: Alabama, Arkansas, Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Texas, and Utah. Governor Cuomo also announced the state will decide on Wednesday whether to slow down the reopening of indoor dining in New York City as part of Phase 3 of reopening. Indoor dining has been shown to pose risk in other states, and outdoor dining has been proceeding well. New York State will review data, consult with stakeholders, and make a final decision. In Rochester, New York, Abigail Dumlao, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you.
Thanks, Abigail. So New York is one of the quintessential places that July 4th is celebrated, with a lot of things being closed down this time of year. You know, what are the plans for New Yorkers for July 4th?
Mayor de Blasio and Macy's announced a fireworks plan in celebration of the 4th of July that will reach every borough for the first time ever from Monday, June 29 through Saturday, July 4. Macy's fireworks displays will launch and announce on select evenings across New York City. Each 5-minute display will be over before residents can gather at its source. The grand finale on the 4th of July will be televised. Mayor Bill de Blasio said this 4th of July celebration with Macy's will give all New Yorkers a safe and exciting way to enjoy the holiday together, even when we are apart.
Oh, that's great news. So you mentioned that it started yesterday. Were you able to see yesterday's fireworks, Abigail?
Yes, I actually just heard it. I didn't go.
Did it scare you, or did you know that it was coming?
I was sleeping that time already, but I heard it.
Well, I mean, at least it's a celebration. Hopefully it doesn't affect your sleeping habits for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Abigail. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Arkansas reopening stimulates economy, increasing employment, and Confederate statues spark debate. In Little Rock, Eagle News correspondent Don Omar Cuevas has a report.
Thanks, Ken, and hello from Little Rock. Here in Arkansas, things are finally starting to look up. Despite the number of COVID-19 cases exceeding 16,000, there are now over 10,000 recoveries. On Monday, the Arkansas Department of Parks, Heritage, and Tourism reopened Arkansas's visitor centers, allowing travelers to have a place to rest and get information about the natural state. Of course, safety precautions are being taken, such as frequent cleaning, wearing masks, and keeping a safe distance from others. In addition, our Governor Asa Hutchinson gave an update on the economic situation in his recent weekly address. The Arkansas government began reopening the economy last month, and as a result, employment around the state is increasing. The unemployment rate has dropped below 10% last month, and several thousands of new employees have been added to industries such as restaurants, retail, education, health services, and transportation. Governor Hutchinson stated that wearing a mask is critical to slowing the spread of COVID-19. He continues to urge the people of Arkansas to wear masks as the economy opens up more and more. Meanwhile, the recent events regarding the late George Floyd and the Black Lives Matter movement have sparked controversy over Arkansas's numerous Confederate monuments, with petitions advocating both for and against the removal of these monuments. Some argue that the monuments are creating division among communities in the state, while others believe that they are an important part of American history. In Little Rock, Arkansas, Don Omar Cuevas, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. I hope you're safe in your part of the country, Ken. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Don. When we come back, more updates from our correspondents across the U.S. We'll return in a moment. This is Eagle News America.
Ein sonniger Tag heute hier in Berlin vor dem Bundestag. Ich bin Irene Juliet Arzadon und möchte diese Gelegenheit nutzen, um ein paar Worte mit euch zu teilen. An alle Menschen da draußen. In dieser Zeit lasst uns nicht vergessen, den Menschen zu danken, die ihr Leben für uns opfern. Sei es die Menschen, die im Krankenhaus arbeiten, in den Altenheimen sowie in den Arztpraxen, aber auch an die Menschen, die im Lebensmittelhandel sich befinden. Die Kassierer. Manchmal reicht es aus, um ihnen ein freundliches Lächeln zu geben. Denn die Menschen, die heute am Arbeiten sind, weil sie nicht so wie einige von uns zu Hause bleiben können, die sollten wir wertschätzen. Ihnen sollten wir unseren Dank ausrichten. Darum lasst uns noch mehr zusammenhalten. Sie wertschätzen.
Hello, my name is Robin and I'm 5 years old. My mom and dad said many people are getting sick. That is why we have to stay at home. That is why I cannot go to school. I cannot play outside. And I cannot even visit my friends. We can only go outside if we visit the doctor. Or if we need to buy some food. And when we get home, we have to wash our hands. While I'm at home, I do my homework, clean up my toys, help cooking our food, and help my parents with their work. Please stay home so we can all play together again. Bye!
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Ken Cruz in Fort Washington. Los Angeles beaches are closed and all fireworks displays are banned for the 4th of July holiday weekend. In Lancaster, Eagle News correspondent Julianne Simbulan reports.
Thank you, Ken. The Los Angeles County Department of Public Health issued a new health order late yesterday to close all Los Angeles beaches and ban all firework displays throughout the county for this long 4th of July holiday weekend. This order arrived due to the great surge in positive COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations. Yesterday's announcements, late in the afternoon, showed the highest number of COVID-19 cases reported in a single day within Los Angeles County since the beginning of the pandemic, a record of 2,903 new cases. Today, the number of positive cases continues to be above 2,100 for the third straight day in the week, with 2,779 newly reported cases and 45 new deaths. The total number of confirmed cases in Los Angeles is now 103,525, with 3,369 deaths as announced today by the Los Angeles Public Health Department. In an effort to prevent further spread of COVID-19 and crowding of people, all Los Angeles County beaches, parking lots, piers, and bike paths will be closed this holiday weekend from Friday, July 3rd at 12:01 a.m. to Monday, July 6th at 5 in the morning. In addition, all firework displays are prohibited to avoid any kind of gatherings. According to the LA Public Health Department, within the last 2 weeks in Los Angeles County alone, hospitalizations have significantly increased by 27%, with the number of confirmed cases in this county continuing to skyrocket. Appropriate measures are being taken to help slow the spread of the virus. All recreational activities will be totally closed in these areas, along with the use of firework displays being prohibited throughout the county. Barbara Ferrer, the Los Angeles Public Health Director, states, closing the beaches and prohibiting fireworks displays during this summer holiday weekend was an incredibly difficult decision to make, but it's the responsible decision to protect public health and protect our residents from a deadly virus. The 4th of July holiday weekend typically means large crowd and gatherings to celebrate a recipe for increased transmission of COVID-19. Along with this announcement made, Angelinos are more reminded to practice physical distancing and wear a face cloth covering at all times when in a public setting or around other people. Practicing these two things can help lessen the chances of contracting this virus, especially with the increasing number of confirmed cases within the county. The state of California currently has a total of 222,917 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 5,980 deaths as recorded by the California Department of Public Health. In Lancaster, California, Julianne Simbulan, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
So, Julianne, beaches closed, fireworks canceled, no recreational activities. What can the people there in LA do for the 4th of July weekend?
Well, Ken, I suspect that there will be a lot more backyard barbecues happening, which is a good thing, but just keep in mind that the recommendation is to keep the group limited to members of your own household. And if there are children or even teenagers at home, it might be a good time to have a sit down with them and talk about Independence Day. This isn't just a holiday to watch fireworks, but it's an opportunity to reflect on their freedom in this country and the responsibility connected with that freedom and to treat everyone fairly and with respect.
So Lancaster, you're like semi-close to Malibu, so no Malibu trip this weekend for you.
No. I wish. But no.
Unfortunate. I mean, as a former LA resident, this is news to hear and news to see. I mean, I'll be very curious to see what my friends over there in LA will be doing this weekend. How about you guys, your family? What are you guys planning to do?
For my family, we are most likely staying home or having like maybe a picnic in our backyard or maybe having a barbecue. But trying to keep away from crowds for sure.
Well, that sounds like most Americans. So it sounds like California and LA are like the rest of the country this coming 4th of July. Appreciate it, Julianne. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
The Iglesia de Cristo, or the Church of Christ, holds a blood drive in Bakersfield, California. Eagle News correspondent Love Esteban Sanchez has the story.
This is Love Esteban Sanchez reporting from Bakersfield, where the Church of Christ held a community blood drive donation during this pandemic time. Despite these times of quarantine and protests, we arrived at their chapel compound for this blood drive and found a happy and giving spirit among church members. For today's event, how many people came in today and donated?
We have 25 that signed up to donate. We have actually about 5 walk-ins, and I'm getting calls that there's going to be a lot more coming in.
Would adaptations related to the pandemic adversely affect blood donation?
The need right now is very high. With the COVID, a lot of people don't want to risk themselves by going out and donating. But in reality, we do need blood. We are safe. If you're not sick, you are eligible to donate with us. We are taking every measurement that we can to stop and spreading the COVID-19 for patients, for our donors, and our staff members. The pace has changed a lot. We are really slow at both locations, offices, and our blood drives.
Why host a blood drive during this time? Is the need greater now than before with COVID-19? We asked Oliver R. Canlas, Assistant District Minister of the District of Los Angeles County, California, to elaborate as to why the church mobilized to meet this need.
The Iglesia Ni Cristo Church of Christ, through the leadership of our beloved Executive Minister, our dearest brother Eduardo Manalo, continues to teach us the words of our Lord Jesus Christ, that to love God with all our might, with all our mind, with all our soul, is the first and greatest commandment. And the second commandment is like this: love your neighbor as you love yourselves.
As donors arrived at their scheduled staggered times during the event, we wondered about the safety of donating and receiving blood as the coronavirus infection rate continues to grow.
Even now, we have signs everywhere. We have hand sanitizers. Everyone is wearing masks. Pretty much, I have my mask on. So yes, we're following all the guidelines that's being implemented right now. It was actually pretty easy and fast. So they're doing everything electronically now. So there is a questionnaire that you can do online with the link. You email the answers to your email, and then they scan the barcode. They check your vital signs, and they just poke you, and that was it. It took probably the whole process no more than half an hour. With the COVID-19 that's going on right now, of course we have to practice the social distancing. Normally, if we didn't have the pandemic, there would be a lot more brethren out here. There would be a lot of food, but I think that's one of the major differences this time around is the socializing. It's more limited.
One of the modifications that we had to do is a lot of donors fear being there too long. So what they can do is they can answer the questionnaire at home the day of their donation. They can email them to themselves, or they can print the questionnaire with the barcode. Yes, you probably are adding about 20 to 30 minutes extra just because we do have to practice social distancing. We cannot have our rooms full. We do have to skip our beds. We do have to skip screening rooms. So we're averaging 30 minutes to donate now to an hour just to donate blood. But we do have donors that understand and are willing to wait that time.
So for those that are donating today, should they have any concerns regarding getting COVID from their donation?
No, they should not worry. We are disinfecting everything. Our staff is required to wear masks and gloves. Anything that the donor touches and the staff member touches, they are disinfecting everything. So the chance of you getting COVID donating blood at our facility or a blood drive are very low risk.
If you were to receive blood, would you be able to get the COVID from the blood that would be given to you?
No, COVID is not transmitted through blood transfusions.
We were reminded of the regular benefits of blood donation and also learned about an added advantage for donating during this time of COVID-19.
It's great for the community, especially during this time of the year when the blood bank is really low in supply. So they welcome a lot of donors. There's many hospitals here locally that need the blood.
So for the plasma convalescent, if a patient has had COVID and they have healed and are feeling well and healthy, they can come and donate plasma. And that plasma has special antibodies that they built when they had the COVID. Now we're going to give that plasma donation to a recipient in the hospital who is currently fighting the COVID. And they're pretty severe, so that's why they need that plasma transfusion, so those antibodies can help with the treatment and battle the COVID-19.
In Bakersfield, California, this is Love Esteban Sanchez reporting for Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you, Love. When we come back, find out what things we can donate this summer. This is the Eagle News America. Stay with us. Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News America. I'm Ken Cruz in Fort Washington. Now that summer's here, it's time to let go of a couple things that we really don't use, but may still be able to be usable for others. According to GoGreenDrop.com, some of the things we can donate are clothing, shoes and bags, kitchenware, books, toys and games, arts, linens, hygiene essentials, sporting goods, and furniture. Let's ask our correspondents tonight things they are planning to donate this summer and those pre-loved great finds they got from thrift stores. I'll start about 12 years ago when I was still in college. I did a lot of thrifting. This is my favorite find. It's my Bulls starter jacket that I got for $12 at, I think it was a Goodwill. I still use it to this day. I looked up how much it costs on eBay. Right now it's $110. And no, I will not be reselling it. So let's ask our correspondents. Let's start off with EJ. What do you got?
Hey, man. So I don't have it with me, but a couple of years ago, I was thrifting. I was just at the thrift store looking for some books. And my wife, my now wife, my girlfriend at the time, but she's an avid reader. So I was able to find the first Harry Potter hardcover, but it was like pristine condition, like brand new. I got it for $1, and I think she was only missing 2 from the series. So she had, out of the 7, she was missing number 1 and 2. I found number 1. I've yet to find number 2. I don't know if I'll find that thrifting, but I'll probably just end up buying that one online.
Well, that's a great find, especially for $1. Thanks, EJ.
Right, yeah.
Aaron, how about you?
I haven't been thrifting for a while, but we've been cleaning out the house the past few weeks, and my cousins who moved from Maryland to Florida a couple of years ago left us with a lot of their old clothing, and some of it were winter clothes that were either not our size or just not something we'd wear. And I also have a couple of pants from like Banana Republic that don't fit me either. And you know what? These are all great conditions. I'm thinking about donating these sometime soon.
Another one person's treasure is another person's treasure, as some people may say, right? How about you, Melissa?
Well, for me, I think as a parent, it's always important to go out and try to find things that I can use for the kids, because kids grow out of their clothing like so quickly. So one of the big finds that we had were a pair of Jordan 11s
Whoa.
for the little one. I think we might have gotten them for about $12. So they go really well with your jacket.
Did you legit check that, or?
I don't know if it'll fit you, but you can walk around with the baby shoes.
I might be able to use my fingers, but at least I'll be often.
Hang it up in your
My car. Right, I'll put it with the dice. Thanks, Melissa. Abigail, how about yourself? Abigail, you there? Well, we'll save you for last. How about you, Julianne?
For me, I haven't been thrifting since like quarantine started. So I have this like Ralph Lauren blue, white, and red windbreaker, and I looked up how much it was like for people who resell it, and it's like in the 100 range. So it's really nice. I'm not planning to resell it, but it's like that vintage 90s style.
Are you going to be wearing it this weekend since it's red, white, and blue, or is it too hot?
Maybe it might be too hot, but maybe during the summertime. I mean, not the summertime, the winter time, when you know, it gets a little bit colder, a little windier.
That's an awesome find. It looks like it's still pristine.
Yeah, I got it for $5.
Oh wow, great find. That's probably the best one that we have so
yeah,
far.
it's like a diamond in the rough a little bit.
And then Abigail, did we get you, Abigail? Maybe she's lost in the fireworks. Well, appreciate the information, guys, and appreciate all of these thrift store finds. Well, let's continue to thank our frontline and essential workers with a round of applause. We appreciate you. And congratulations to the graduates of the class of 2020. We're so proud of all of you. We celebrate with you. And that's it for today's Eagle News America. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Ken Cruz. We live in interesting times.
We know that this is a scary time for all of us.
The coronavirus is changing the world,
changing our lives.
So please, take care of yourself.
Keep your distance.